Oh my God. Good hair day, great makeup day. We are feeling ourselves. It's spring. It's spring in this household, even though it's snowing outside. Welcome to Minnesota. It's 32 degrees out. It was 80 last week, so we have bigger problems in this world because the earth is on fire. But the reason you're here today is because we are doing a super overdue, like it's the middle of the month, and here I am doing a March book roundup. March read roundup, whatever I want to call it. You're also cutting my head off. Does that feel better? That's better. Okay, so hello everyone. Welcome to my channel if you are new, or welcome back if you are not. My name is Carrie, and I thought I would do a different video today because I've talked about it a little bit on some vlogs. I'm much more active about it on like TikTok and Instagram, and I want to introduce basically books to this channel. Would love to start talking a little bit more about books, the books I'm reading, the books I'm wanting to read, and just like all of that. I find it so interesting. If you don't know, I just started like avidly reading last, basically August. Book Talk kind of blew up, and I was seeing all of these like videos about books, and I thought it was so interesting. And I've always been a big lover of like rom-coms. I love movies, I love TV shows, I love music, I love stories. And I've never been a big reader, and I just feel like I wasn't reading the right things. So I got introduced to like romance books almost a year ago, and I have not turned back. I am obsessed. I have gone overboard, and I have gotten a lot of romance books. Basically, all of that said, I would like to start talking more about books on this channel. It's something I'm really passionate about and I enjoy talking about. So with that said, here is my March roundup. So these are the books that I read in March, and I'm gonna talk about them with you. I'm gonna go off of my Goodreads in the order of which I've read the books in March. If you are not already, please follow me on Goodreads. My link is down below. I'm always tracking the books I'm reading. I usually give a review, and then I have my entire TBR on there as well. So this month I read a ton of books on my Kindle, so I'm gonna have to just put the book cover here. I also talked about a lot of these in my last vlog, so this might be a little repetitive, so ignore it. On March 2nd to March 10th, I read A Thousand Boy Kisses by Tilly Cole. I loved this book. This was a book that I feel like has been talked about a ton on Book Talk, and I was recommended it a lot. And it is just like one of those books that if you want to cry and like believe in love and like just feel all of the things, this is that book. I feel like to stay a little authentic, I'm gonna read my reviews that I wrote on Goodreads, because those are usually like my, right after I finished it, genuine reaction. So I wrote on March 10th, what the fuck? This book was the most heartbreaking, beautiful, depressing book I have ever read. I have no words, that's the review. So yeah, if you've read it, you know what I mean. If you haven't, it is basically the most beautiful, pure, like dream-like love story that you kind of wish you lived. It follows a very young Rue and Poppy. This is a younger like love story, so if you are looking for something that is a little bit more spicy, it's not this book. Story about two kids who fall in love, they're best friends, and they grow up together, and their beautiful love story just unfolds over the years of them growing up. The oldest they get is like high school, I want to say like 16, 17. There are trigger warnings in this book on a couple topics, so definitely read those before you read it. But it really, beyond like the love story, it just makes you like appreciate life and how fragile and like fleeting it can be. Personally, I just turned 30 in February, and it's been this very wild, like, oh my God, I'm not a kid anymore. I just went through my whole 20s, which is an entirely like crazy transitional decade. And this book was basically kind of a reminder of like, not every day is guaranteed. Live it to its fullest, appreciate the things around you. And it was just beautiful. I loved it. I was so captivated and like lost in that world. It was beautiful. I cried a lot. Read it if you haven't. Literally the exact same day I started a new book, I was in denial and I needed to get into another world. So I read The Infinity Between Us by N.S. Perkins. I read this from March 10th to the March 18th. This one really sent me into orbit. So I heard of this book because, quote, it was, if you liked Every Summer After or Love in Other Words, you'll like this book. Could not be more spot on. It was that exact same like childhood friends to lovers, past and present timeline, set in a beach town, like beautiful like young love story, and then something happens and they're adults and they rekindle, and it's this exact same trope that if you like those books, you're going to love it. For a very long time, I was on the hill of Every Summer After is a perfect book. And while I still love it and it has a very special place in my heart, The Infinity Between Us kind of gave you things that you didn't really get in Every Summer After. It's definitely a lot more spicy, so if you like spicy romances, read this book. But I just feel like it was a little bit more deep, like in every single part of the story. The thing that like separates them was a lot deeper, their childhood love was a lot deeper, and then their adult rekindling was a lot deeper too. So I just feel like everything was a little bit more amplified. I absolutely loved these characters so much. This story made me want to literally live in that town. Like, I was able to picture the beach house and the town that they lived in. It was set in Maine, and I'm just like, yummy, give it to me more. So yeah, I was absolutely obsessed with this story. This is a great summer read. I read it in March, so it was literally like blizzarding outside, but I loved it all the same. I did not give a Goodreads review for this one. I just rated it 5 stars, so. And then a day after that, I started another book on Kindle. I'm gonna have it on the screen, of course, called The Confidence of Wildflowers. I was introduced to this book by TikTok. I literally saw a random TikTok of someone being like, it was literally like a line from the story, and I was like, gotta read it. And I went to Kindle Unlimited, got it right that day, started reading it. I'm just gonna start by reading my review. I said, oof. Despite moments of this book being so cringy, I literally could not put it down. I had to keep reading. The cliffhanger they leave you on is so not fair. I gotta know more. So basically that's like a sum up of it. This is another kind of small town romance, but it's an age gap. So if that's your little like preference, then you're gonna love this. Honestly, to sum up this book, I'm gonna read the little synopsis on Goodreads. It says, my future is a big what if at the moment, and I'm fine with that for the most part. When Thayer Holmes moves next door, the grumpy landscaper both fascinates and amuses me. When he asks me to nanny his kid, it's a great way to make extra money. It's impossible not to fall in love with Thayer and his adorable son. There is a big problem though. I'm 18 and he's 31. Falling for someone almost 15 years older than me wasn't a part of my plans, but sometimes things happen when you least expect them. So that's basically a story. Yeah, it's an age gap romance. If you like that kind of stuff, you're gonna love it. The first book was definitely captivating. Like I said in my review, it was cringy at times, but there were parts where I was like very interested in the story, like definitely wanted to know more. They leave you on such an unfair cliffhanger that you have to read the second book, which is the book I followed it up with, which was called The Resurrection of Wildflowers. My review was literally like, what the fuck? This was a terrible sequel. What was going on? And it basically matched all of the other reviews I read on Goodreads. A lot of people were saying the same thing, and I completely agree with them. And it's basically that the second book could have been an epilogue. It was so drawn out. There were so many repetitive conversations and dialogue. Like, it was just a lot of fluff, and it definitely tied up the story in a way that you like, I felt satisfied, but it could have been an epilogue or an extra 2 chapters in the first book. It did not need to be a whole second book. I just felt like they were kind of stringing you along to get to an ending that ultimately could have been summed up into a couple chapters. So would I recommend the book? I would the first one, and honestly, I feel like if you could like stalk online, someone could basically tell you how it ended. I wouldn't necessarily waste your time on reading the second book. It's on Kindle Unlimited, so if you have it, go for it because it was free. I would not recommend going and buying the physical second book at all. And then I took another day break and I went right into another book, which was Love on the Brain by Ali Hazelwood. I gave this a 5 stars. I loved this book so much. One of my very favorite books is Love Hypothesis by Ali Hazelwood, and this one was very similar. It gave me a very similar feeling. It was so funny. It was well written. It wasn't just this all fluffy romance. It is a romance story about a woman in STEM, and I just love how like smart and and witty these female characters are. I think Allie does a really good job of writing like super intelligent, independent, very strong-willed women. And I think it's really refreshing to read a story about a very, very strong female lead. So that just like always attracts me to like Allie Hazelwood's stories in general. But to read my Goodreads review, I said, it can't be over. How is this over? Allie does it again. I was so captivated by this fucking book. I swear to God, time stopped and sped up all at once. Bea and Levi are special people that I firmly believe are actually my friends. I hate when books end. That's all. So it was just such a fun story. I absolutely loved this love story. If you liked The Love Hypothesis, you're going to love this one. So this follows Bea and Levi. They are both part of a NASA project, and they are old rivalries back in grad school. It is the perfect miscommunication love story. If you like that trope, you're gonna love it. It's kind of a grumpy meets sunshine story also, so if you like that trope, you're gonna love it. I read it so quickly that I was just like, what happened? I couldn't get enough of this story. I wanted to see their happy ending. I loved this book so much. I'm so excited for the third Allie Hazelwood book that's coming out. I think it's called Love Theoretically. I could be wrong, but I'm so excited. It comes out very soon. So stay tuned for the review for that, because you know I'm picking it up right away. And that is it. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Let me know if you want more videos like this, or if you have other book video ideas. As always, make sure to check out all of my socials down below. Follow me on Goodreads if you do not. And I will see you guys all very soon for probably a vlog or something else. So I hope you are all having an amazing morning, afternoon, or night, wherever you are. Mwah. Bye.